I love the scenes outside the Santos house. God.
Oh yeah, all of those, dude.
With like the bench pressing.
Oh yeah.
And dude, here's the funny thing too. We would always come out, and Eddie and I would look at the scene. I'm like, dude, there's only 7 people. They don't need 452 empty bottles. It was like literally everyone in the Santos is a rating.
They go a little overboard. That's true. We're like, I think we got to tone this down.
There'd be like 100 Mickeys outside, and like King Cobra's like the 4th.
There's like 4 of you, and there's 287.
And you'd have a day player going, yeah, but I heard they like to drink a lot. I go, yeah, but it wasn't 100 people here. It's just 6 dudes here.
You guys, I'm gonna be honest. This was the episode that I was most looking forward to for this shoot. For the whole entire like podcast. Obviously, On My Pod is a tribute to the fans from On My Block. And I wanted to, introduce them to the people who created the show, the magic behind, of course, Lauren Unerick and the other producers. But I wanted to introduce the audience to some of the amazing writers and producers and creators of the show. Eddie Gonzalez, Jeremy Haft.
Thank you.
Amigos, as I like to call you guys, los patrones.
Los hermanos.
Los hermanos.
Somos hermanos. Soy tu tío.
Los mafiosos. Los mafiosos de Hollywood. Long time no see.
Absolutely.
How you guys doing? I haven't seen you guys in forever. It feels
been,
like forever, at least.
Well, you and I, we had dinner 4 months ago or so.
Yeah, in 2023.
Dude, my head exploded. I said, what are you up to? And you're like, well, I got this. I mean, you made me feel like I was lazy.
I told you I was going to make a podcast. And originally, I was going to call the podcast the Sangre Mia podcast. Mm-hmm. And then on my way to go shoot it, I was literally like, dude, I should call it the On My Pod podcast. And then I was like, I think that sounds cooler. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Maybe not. I don't know. I could be wrong, but obviously On My Pod's based off of On My Block, the crazy hit show that you guys made and that I got a chance to star in with the cast. I wanted to just ask you guys, how did that come about? I know Ruby's character is kind of based on your life, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how did that all kind of come about for you guys?
Jerry, you want to take this?
Well, the original origin story is that Lauren Unerick, the third creator of the show, and I have known each other for a long time, and we were having lunch, and Lauren created Awkward, which was a huge show.
That's right, on MTV.
Huge show on MTV, and Lauren's awesome, if you're watching.
Yeah, I just saw her like last week, literally.
She's the best.
She's doing good.
So Lauren had created Awkward, and we were at lunch, and she was saying she was interested in doing another YA show, but she wanted to do something with POC. And there was a lot of fans of Awkward that were POC. And did I know kind of anyone that would be interested in that? And I said, Eddie and I are writing the Tupac movie, and Eddie grew up in Compton and Linwood. And she's like, oh my God, I love Eddie.
Yeah, sure.
And literally the next day we were at this super, super high-end restaurant. I don't think you could get a reservation there, could he? Do you think, Eddie?
No.
Wait, where were you guys?
It's pretty.
It's a fancy place. It's called Panera. Panera in Sherman Oaks. That's where we were.
So Lauren, Eddie, and I literally the next day started getting together at Panera. Based on Lauren wanting to do a POC, a show with kids with POC, YA. Oh wow! And On My Block was born at the Sherman Oaks
six
Panera.
weeks of getting there and eating that. If I eat one more Chinese chicken salad from there, but yeah, for 6 weeks we just sat there and we came up with a pitch, and then we went out to multiple places. We went to Netflix, we went to Amazon, a couple of other places, and we got offers from some of them.
Oh shoot! So this could have been an Amazon show.
I think we're still waiting to hear if Amazon's going to buy it or not because they never really asked.
But it could have been.
There was a couple other places,
right?
But Netflix
was a trip to think about.
The enthusiasm and the excitement from Netflix, and our excitement of having a show on Netflix.
Yeah,
just matched up.
I just had David Castaneda on here yesterday from the Umbrella Academy, and we were chatting about the same exact thing. I was like, dude, I feel like in 2018, 2017. To have a Netflix show when Netflix, I mean, they're still on top, I'd like to say, but when they were the only streaming service really.
Oh, absolutely.
Because HBO Max hadn't come out yet. Disney Plus was still developing. Hulu had been around, but it wasn't like, it wasn't hitting like Netflix. When you had that Netflix thing and it blew up, before it told you what was number one and the audience sort of told you the world what was number one. That was like the craziest time.
Oh, I agree. It was like a status symbol.
Yeah.
And also,
I know, right?
It was definitely, it's things happen for a certain reason. It was the right place to be. I mean, our executives were just amazing and they let you play. you know, you'd get notes and you'd get things, but more than anything else, they just let you play and let you tell your stories. And, you know, Lauren, Jeremy, and I, and the writers, we had an amazing room that, God, I miss them. I miss them a lot. We had really good writers that first season, actually all 3 seasons, all 4 seasons. But sitting there and coming up with those stories was just unbelievable. And we thought we had something, you know, it's not a worst case scenario.
I was going to say, when it came out, like, were you expecting the response that it got? Like,
no, I think me personally, I thought if nothing else, we made 10 episodes that made us all laugh, made us cry, and we had a great time doing it. And I remember Jeremy and I talking about, you know, we were going to be sad if we didn't get picked up for season 2 because we loved working with Lauren. We loved being in the room. We loved working with all of you. And we thought, this is over. Now what? And you know, do you remember that as soon as the show came out? Do you remember what happened? I came over
to your house and we were all there. I was coming off of press with Jason and Paula. We were on Noches con Platanito. Very weird show, but it was a lot of fun though. But and then we went to your house and we got the call and we were like, hell yeah, dude. It was crazy.
But do you remember even a little bit before that? So after season 1 came out, do you remember we were struggling those first few days?
The first week.
After it came out?
After it came out, the first week.
Numbers, right?
The numbers weren't them. They were very meh.
I remember that.
I
do remember that.
Our executives called us and said, these numbers aren't so great. Is there anything you can do? And like, what do? We didn't know anyone famous that would like tweet about it or whatever. And then there was an actress, we'll mention who she is. She mentioned how much she loved the show.
Wow.
And then other people started watching the show.
Basketball player.
And she might be married to a basketball player. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But all of a sudden.
Gabrielle Union was very helpful.
That's right.
Yeah, she was amazing.
I remember that.
She was absolutely amazing.
And Jamie Foxx tweeted about the show as well.
Oh, that's right.
And then it started to catch fire. And before you knew it, I mean, it was blowing up. And as you know, we were fortunate that it was the most binge show for Netflix that season. But you were at our house. But it was funny. We were just randomly having dinner with Eric Gutierrez and his wife. Eric is Ruben Senior and
the
fucking badass acting coach.
Yeah, he helped us out a lot.
He and his wife were over at my house with my wife and I just having dinner. And we got the news and we broke out the great tequila and then you guys showed up. The next thing you know, it's 1:30 in the morning. You guys are there and my 7-year-old son's coming downstairs and he's like, he's singing Ruby and Caesar and Monse in real life. Oh my God. Yeah.
You're trying to get us out of here. You're like, all right, guys, enough celebrating. Get out of my house.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, when I got the gig, I thought, like, I told my brother, I remember calling him and I was like, hey dude, you know, I got this gig. And, you know, my expectations aren't super high because I don't know what to expect. It's my first time doing this. And I was like, you know, I think worst comes to worst, I'll get like, you know, 10,000 Instagram followers and like a demo reel. And I was like, and I was stoked on that. I was like, no, I got some footage. I was like, I'm pumped. I could send it out to this director and this director. And then when the show came out, I didn't really understand or process like what was going on. It literally, it took me, I think, like 3 seasons to really understand. I was like, oh shit, people have seen the work that we've created as a team. And for better or worse, you know, a lot of people love it, but you know, occasionally you get that one, you know, that one dude's like, oh man, you got a punchable face. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are you saying right now? But for you guys, how was it when the show came out, managing like people coming out of the woodworks, the success that came out with it, like all of that stuff? Did you guys have any challenges when the show came out?
I think I loved the experience of working with, you know, the writers, the actors, Lauren, Jamie Dooner, who's another one of our EPs, working with all of them so much that I think I just wanted it to continue, which is, I think, something Eddie mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt like these characters were just starting to come to life.
Yeah.
And the exciting thing was seeing characters that were often the third or the fourth character or the sidekick or seen only in one way, the gangbanger who's really bad killing people, right?
Yeah, sure.
So the exciting
three-dimensional characters.
Seeing three-dimensional characters, right?
Yeah.
If you take Jessica Marie Garcia, Jasmine, right?
Yeah.
Like her character, we always talked about in season 1, she was going to be this wild and crazy and fun, right? But she had a great background, a great backstory. But we want
2 especially.
And we wanted to get into that, but we wanted to make sure we could get into it. So we were, you know, and especially, I mean, you know, I love the stuff with you and your brother. So I wanted to go deeper and longer and see why someone's in a gang or feels the pressure and that sort of thing.
Would you say that's kind of hard trying to like compose how much you want to throw inside of the scripts in the first season? Like, because I feel like I'm the type of writer or person that like wants to throw it all in there. I think that's one of my biggest flaws as an artist. I'm like, I don't show them everything.
I don't think it's a flaw, but I think that's why we're all drawn to television.
Yeah,
is because here on a film you've got 120 minutes.
Yeah,
unless you're Scorsese, you have 300 minutes or
Christopher Nolan. Movie. Yeah.
But I think for us, you were asking what the reaction was. To me, it felt like it was all love, and I felt, as I've said many times, I have 117 first cousins.
Sure,
seeing them respond to it and just text from all these cousins and friends and people who felt seen. To me, that was the biggest rush. That's better. I mean, you think, when you're a writer, the biggest rush is, oh my God, hearing an actor say my words, or a joke that you wrote in a room with everybody else going, God, is this going to play? And you're like, it's funny when we're all in the writer's room. Is it funny out there? Yeah. That's really cool. There's nothing that beats people telling you how much they love it because of how they see themselves in you. Yeah. They see themselves in your work. Yeah. I saw it here. Sorry, I'm going to go off on a tangent, but
absolutely.
Season 2, if you recall, we did a Summer Nights episode. It's like, I don't know what we're in season 2. It's early on. It's like episode 3 or so. And you and Jessica, I remember we were shooting at a park deep in the valley and we were shooting overnight. And you guys walked to the crowd. They had blocked off the crowd. And it was like 10 or 20 people. Next thing you know, it's 150 people and they're looking, and you guys were so gracious to sit there and take the time and talk to everybody. You realize the impact that this show has on people. Yeah. And it's like long overdue. So to me, as a co-creator, you sit back and you're just like, oh man, it's landing. It's so landing. Crazy. And that's what's exciting.
People love On My Block. They love it. It's been, how long has it been since we've been on?
Years?
4 years, right?
Yeah. 2019. Did we premiere in 2019 or 18?
2021 was our last season, but we premiered in 2018. Yeah.
Right. That's
March 16, 2018.
Yeah. So 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And I launched this March 16, 2024 this year. Yeah. And I was at Panera Bread too, when my buddy's editing it. Really? I swear to God. We were editing it at a Panera Bread. That's so funny.
I think going to what you guys are saying though, which we already, but one thing is people are able to see themselves for the first time. But also because this show was such a low budget show, so small.
What was it? Lower budget than normal productions?
Oh yeah.
Could we say numbers or no? Or like
we can't,
like estimates?
We can't say the numbers, but compared to other shows, we had. It's funny because I listened here in preparation. I'd listen to some of the other podcasts. I listened to other people, and you'd say like, what are some of the obstacles?
Yeah.
I can tell you that the greatest obstacle for us was time and money. Is you're shooting, you got 4 days, and Jeremy directed 4 episodes.
4 or 5 over there.
But you have limited time. Sorry, you have 4 days, 4.5 days to shoot your episode. You're 28 pages. You're shooting 7 pages a day. You're hauling ass on this. You're doing 14-hour days sometimes. It's grueling, and you wish you had the money to do this, but you know what you do is you make up for it somewhere else because we're not going to play victim. We're not going to be like, of course, You go, how do we make this work?
Yeah.
And you make it work with good storytelling, and I think that's what people related to.
And you guys made it work, man. Like really, like
we all made it work.
We all made it work, of course, but
it came out of nowhere. And I think that is part of the thing. When someone makes a show and there's a big star in it, right? Or there's a remake or a huge name, right? Sure. Like, when they're remaking shows, right? They made Hawaii Five-0 years ago. Then they redid.
They're doing tons of reboots right now.
Right. Yeah. And people are really excited and they hear about it. There's a big expectation for any of these things. There's a big star. We were a tiny show with a really small budget, with almost no advertising behind it.
No
advertising, which is a separate story. And then it just started growing
by word of mouth.
And that's the most powerful thing. And we kind of hit this thing where the kids are like, oh my God, I'm Ruby.
Yeah.
I'm Caesar. Yeah. I'm so-and-so. Oh my God, I have an abuelita just like that. Or, hey, I grew up without this or that. And I think, to me, the most exciting thing was having people come up to me that didn't even know I was doing the show. It was like, oh my God, I saw your show. That's crazy. That's how I grew up or this or that. It was insane.
That's wild, man. I know Jason's character, Ruby, was based on a little bit on your life, right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just, for the audience watching this, I feel like people have this illusion that when you work in show business, that you were just born into it, that your dad was like that studio exec and he gave you a job and all that stuff. But I really like to get, real with my audience and sort of tell them about your background, how you grew up and all that stuff. And what led you into, I guess, show business?
Sure. So here, I'll give you the short version. I mean, I was born in Compton and grew up in Linwood, one of 8. there is a 19-year gap between me and my oldest sister.
No way.
Huge
Hey,
difference.
that's a real Latino family right there.
it's totally,
My dad has
exactly.
like 11 siblings too.
Oh yeah, that's why there's so many cousins. Stuff.
Yeah.
And my dad, who is my hero. I mean, or was my hero, passed away. But it was just amazing. I mean, the man never made more than $18,000 a year in any year. Carpenter that raised 8 kids. He did all right.
Wow.
To me, he wins right there. But, we saw, so growing up in Linwood, we saw certain things that I think in a lot of ways make you stronger. For me, growing up with some of the things that I had to deal with, in addition to going to school and going, hey, am I going to go to college? Am I going to do this? But you're also dealing with all these other things. I think in a lot of ways just emboldens you. So those were the stories we wanted to tell. We were excited about that. And I think that that's what a lot of people end up connecting to. In terms of connections in the industry, none. No connections in the industry. I got my first job in the industry when I was like 25 as an intern. I worked for a producer, really famous producer, and I sent out, this is in the days when you sent out a resume. Dude, no one would hire me. And I'm like, I'm willing to work for free, And finally, I worked for him. And there I made contacts. I made friends with people.
Wow.
And from there, we just started meeting different people. We got agents. That's how we ended up, at a certain point becoming partners.
Yeah.
But you meet someone, but you have no contacts.
Sure.
And I had a friend who, also, your friends, make sure that you have the real ones who are honest with you. I gave him a script and I go, what do you think? And he was an assistant at William Morris. And he goes, dude, your script sucks. I go, seriously? He goes, no, dude, it's bad. I go, well, no, it's really bad. I go,
And this was just last week.
Yeah, exactly. It was actually Jeremy that was saying. So I said, dude, will you just submit it for coverage? And for people listening, coverage is basically there's a reader at a agency who reads it, and they give a synopsis, and then they give it to their bosses, the agents.
Okay.
I got amazing coverage on this script, and from that, I got my first agent at William Morris.
Oh, whoa!
By the way, the
Your
guy
first agent was at William Morris.
Was at William Morris.
Whoa,
and Jeremy's first agent was at William Morris also.
Whoa!
But that's how it was. But the best is my friend he goes, dude, I was wrong. Look, he goes, I thought your script wasn't very good, but still, that you have to appreciate that. So that's how we started, and then Jeremy and I, a few years after that, teamed up and started writing.
I was gonna say, because you hear about writers in Hollywood and they're individual. They write by themselves, or maybe they have a team. But you guys write together, right? Is that every project, or was it just on my blog?
Yeah, everything.
Nice. And you guys did Tupac together also as well, right?
Correct. We do everything together for the last 20 some years.
How did that come about? Like, how did you guys be like, I want to work with you, and we're gonna make movies together, and we're gonna crush it in Hollywood? Like, how did that come about?
We had some mutual friends, and we were at a boxing match, which I've never been to one before or after, I don't think. So it's kind of weird, right? Right? We were at a boxing match.
We were watching a boxing match at a
like live?
Friend. Yeah, it was no. We were watching at some
at someone's house.
It's like pay-per-view. It was like Tyson Holyfield or something.
Oh, okay.
Who knows?
We watched this.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we watched this, and neither one of us is a boxing fan, but we're both huge sports fans.
Yeah.
And we're both complaining about our agents at the time.
Oh yeah.
As writers are prone to do.
Yeah.
And we totally connected, and we just start talking about different things. I said, hey, you know what? I'll show you mine if you show me yours, so to speak. we swapped scripts, and we said, we should write together. We had similar sensibilities, but I think, look, I think that I can speak for our relationship of writing together for 25 years is you pick someone or you work with someone who makes you better, but also it can't always be about the writing. There are days we don't even talk about story. We just talk about like the Dodgers. I mean, he's a huge Yankee fan. I'm a Dodger fan.
Okay.
We talk about the Lakers. We talk about anything else. We talk about kids. You have to talk about different things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to go fucking crazy going, what's this character doing? How do we get an actor to like this?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah. So I'm assuming that you guys sort of had that click off the bat, right? Like off the bat. That's kind of hard because I have a hard time, it's really strange. I have a hard time really connecting with creative minds that want to stay consistent and commit. I feel like nowadays a lot of people just want it now, dude.
Yeah.
Like they just want the instant result. And I feel like, the generation before us, they really knew what it was like to stay disciplined, to stay committed to something and push through. Why do you think that changes like nowadays with our generation?
I know why.
Well, I have it's that we both came here, right? So I came here knowing nobody, having no connections, no relative. I slept on a buddy's couch.
Yeah.
Did odd jobs to make money. So I think we both are used to hard work and sort of being underdogs, right? Like, 'cause half the people are out here, like you said, my brother's the head, my cousin, but this route, like
trust funds.
Yeah, we knew nobody. Like, Eddie grew up where he grew up, and
you guys paved your own way.
Paved our own way. So I think that we were just assuming we would have to do hard work. We both had other jobs to keep going.
Dude, we did focus groups. We would go. You understand? Oh, you understand? No, this is fun. No, we were so broke. You understand? When we started writing, we were so broke. I used to write a check back in the day when you'd write checks for my rent, knowing that I'd have to have overdraft protection cover it. Like, basically the bank says, we'll cover you, but then you better come up with the money in like 30 days. I had no money. So we would do focus groups where, and I apologize to the focus group companies, but they go and they go, hey, Jeremy's got a great one where about stockbrokers.
It paid really, really well.
You had to have a background in something. So once Jeremy went to one, he had to be a stockbroker. Tell him.
And they're all like, I don't know anything about like being a stockbroker. And they're like, but it paid like $200 for like 3 hours. And even now that's good money. And 20 years ago, it was like amazing money. So I'm like, yeah, I'm a stockbroker. Do you have this license? Yes. So they're all in. They're like, so what do you think of, the arbitrage on Delta? And I'm like, oh, totally. Yeah. And so like, if you're talking to a client, I'm like, oh yeah, Delta. The other great one is when I said I owned a stamps.com machine. Oh my God. And I literally had never used one. And they were like, so Jeremy, when you're using it and you feel it, I'm like, totally. Yeah. Like, I would just make.
You just lie. I would do car ones. I love cars, so those were always fun. But they'd pay you $300 to just talk about a car. They go, "How do you feel about the new Chrysler? Blah blah blah. How do you feel about the BMW X5?" I'm like, "I do this." It was the best. But you do anything you can to just make some money to keep writing because we wanted it so badly.
Of course, and I feel like so what do you think is lacking in today's day and age for the younger gens? Who want that instant gratification?
Well, here, this one I know firsthand because of the amount of DMs I get, and I'm sure you get thousands more than I do. Yeah. I would get, I love your show. How can I become a star? It wasn't how can I become an actor? How can I become a writer? How can I become a star? Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, we're here working with the core four and these other amazing actors that busted their ass. They didn't just become stars. They worked hard. People don't see the classes you took, all the stuff you're doing. Yeah. So I think what happens is a lot of people, they will watch TikTok. They see this as, the before TikTok, reality stars of Survivor, any of that, suddenly go, well, cool, I can be the lead in a film. And to me, that's offensive to actors that are out there working every day on their craft.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think speaking to that too, there is because anyone can write. And I mean by write, you could literally just get you could buy the script software and just write a script. Sure. Anyone can act. I'm not saying effectively, but I can be, hey, I'm an actor. Eddie, give me the money. I'm horrible. Yeah. I'm horrible, right? Yeah. But because they think they can do it, unlike being an astronaut or an electrician or a Major League Baseball player or a doctor, they just think they can do it. And it's insane. Like Eddie said, we'll get these, hey, you guys should really do a season 5. And I think I should be the star. I'd be Caesar's like cousin. I'd come from, I'm like, whoa, you've never taken an acting class. How in the world would we put you in a show? Like, people don't ask you, hey, Diego, how many classes did you take? Diego, when did you study? Hey, Diego, do you stay up at night stressed out all night about a scene? Do you have an acting coach? Did you meet early with Eric Gutierrez 4 hours before a call? No, they just think you show up and you're like, hey, what's up? I'm Diego.
That's very true.
And it's also not just younger people. It's even with older people too, with the writing. I'll never forget, Jeremy and I had sold a script years ago. And at the time, I've always had this side hustle working with a doctor. I was a translator. And I'm in surgery with him because you want to see what a surgery is like so you can explain it to a patient. I'll never forget being in there. And the doctor, who is one of my closest friends, love this guy to death, says to his assistant doctor, his co-surgeon, he goes, Eddie and his partner just sold a script. He's like, really? He's like, oh yeah. And we're telling him what it's about and this and that. And the guy goes, the co-surgeon says, oh, I have a lot of ideas. I should write a script. Maybe we'll start writing a script. What do you think? And I look at him and I go, I think it's a great idea. I think you should write a script because I'm thinking of doing surgery tomorrow. And he kind of looks at me and I'm like, dude, you believe me, it takes years to do this.
Of course, man.
And
people just think that they can just step into it. Like you said, it's like they can just step into it. And it's like, and it's almost a sense of, my brother says it all the time. He's like, man, there's so much motivation online, but there's so much entitlement too that comes with it, right? And
that's an interesting phrase.
I get the DMs. They're like, I want to do what you do. And occasionally I'll reply. I'll be like, well, I have an entire online acting school where I literally tell you what to do. We have a showcase. We have the legit agents on there, but you have to obviously train, become good. And I have some like exercise and I have the studios that I have everything listed out, the whole blueprint. And they're like, yeah, no, but like I just want to like do it already. Like I just want to be
Yeah.
in the movie and the TV show.
There's
I'm
no
like,
such
dude,
thing-
it doesn't work like that. Like
There's no such thing as
I
a
wish
shortcut.
it did, man. I wish I could just snap my fingers and everybody gets their wishes.
Sure.
But then it wouldn't become valuable, right? They say the hardest things in life are the most valuable because it took hard work to get there.
Of course.
Right? So I guess that being said, for the younger generation, what would you tell them? Like what's the message, especially for aspiring screenwriters of today? The young, you know, because they're the voices essentially of cinema.
Write and write what you know. It took us a while to get there in terms of write what you know and write what you are passionate about. Don't write to the marketplace. It took us a couple tries to get there.
Yeah.
But if you write what you're passionate about and what you're honest about and what you love, that people want to, this is here, going back, people in TV specifically, now I'm talking about why is this show important? So if Eddie and I came in and we said, oh, we want to do a show about like karate on the moon, and like, would you study karate? No.
With
Have you been to the moon?
with Irish cops from Boston.
Right. And they're like, why are you? But a lot of the shows we did,
I'm like writing that down.
you
That's
know?
a good idea.
That's a good idea.
but like, you know, why on my block? Well,
Yeah.
it has a lot of Lauren's high school experience, a lot of
Yeah.
Jeremy's, a lot of Eddie's high school experience, and then characters that we all were part of in Eddie's, you know, world of Compton and Linwood.
Yeah.
Why other shows that we've sold, they're all have a part of our family, or a lot of times Eddie's family, the 117 first cousins. It is a piece of us that we're
That's
telling.
a real thing?
It's a,
You have 117.
It's not a
Oh,
bit.
it wasn't a joke.
Wait,
It's
oh
a
my
real
God. I thought you were
thing.
just kidding around.
No.
You have
My
117
mom's-
no, hold on.
cousins?
117 first cousins.
Yeah.
First cut.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Don't get into the seconds and thirds.
Dude, I've gone to family reunions. I've told you this, that I don't know some people.
Stop.
It's amazing. One of my favorite stories is when I was like in 8th grade. So my uncle had a ranch in Sonoma in Northern California. Love this uncle. He had this great place, and this would be the gathering spot. Everybody would come. So you'd have family coming from Mexico, family living in Northern California. Everybody get there. And I'm there. I'm telling you, I don't know some people there. And this big dude walks up to me and goes, "Hey, little homie, you got a girlfriend?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." I'm like in 8th grade. First off, I'm in 8th grade and it's like 4'4" because I'm so damn small. And he's like, "All right, anybody ever mess with her? You let me know." And I said, okay. My mom goes, "Mijo, ya conociste tu primo?" And he tells his name. Oh shit, we're related? I'll fuck him up for free. I'm like, oh my God. But that's the beauty of family.
Totally.
You know, honestly, I can't speak enough about my cousins. I love them.
Yeah.
And it is, they you know, they're real with you.
Yeah.
And they're proud of this stuff. And, you know, you want, when you're writing, I definitely hear them in the back of my head because you don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
You know, but you were going back to the question about what would you tell aspiring writers? What Jeremy's saying about write what you know, but persistence. You write one script, cool, move on to the next. Move on to this. I don't want to hear you're working in the same script for 5 years.
Yeah.
You got to move on.
God, we
and that's
hear that a
really,
lot.
right? It's really hard for people to move on. The other thing I'd say, side hustle. I've had a side hustle for years. And in the early stage, we wouldn't talk about it much because you'd worry people were going to say, oh, you're not committed to your craft. Oh, I'm fucking committed to the craft, but I also know this is really hard.
Yeah.
And you got to do this. You have to expand. Look what you're doing, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm impressed with what you're doing because it's not just about the acting.
Yeah.
You're an entrepreneur.
Sure.
And that's the thing. When you look at people, you want them to do all these other things. So if you want to write, you write. And like what Jeremy's saying, write what you know.
Yeah.
Be authentic to your true self. But also, you got to have this plan. What are you going to do? You
Hard
know?
work, man. Like you could, you have a choice, Diego, right? You can sit home and talk to your agent and manager and be like, "Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
I just woke up. It's 2. I'm so tired."
Yeah.
Or you can bust your ass and set up your film school, your acting school, do your podcast, all the stuff, your clothing line.
Sure.
So you have a choice. You can either go bust your ass, like Eddie said, and be an entrepreneur. You can sit at home and wait to see. And you know what? 1 out of 1 million people, their agent's going to say, "Dude, you're in the movie." But the other ones, we got to bust our butt. And now your name's everywhere. And it's, I mean, honestly, I'm super impressed.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm producing a film too. My first film with Loose Films.
That's
So
awesome.
it's in the works. I
Congratulations,
might have to edit this out. I might ask them, but yeah, we're doing our first film, so I'm excited. Dude, I have a reference, and maybe you guys can. I don't know too much about sports, like baseball, especially, but in mixed martial arts, like the UFC and all that stuff, I have this reference where I'm like, if a UFC fighter can train jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, then go home to their families and attend their needs, and then do press, and then do like all these things and do their job and get to the fight and still like have no complaints and just do it. It's like, why can't you be an artist and do something else, at least one other thing else. You know what I'm saying?
It's also good for your brain.
Yeah.
To me, I find when I'm doing anything outside of this, I don't read entertainment stuff at the end of the night. I just don't. Like, I'm falling asleep, I'll read about businesses. I'll read
You have
about
to plug
stocks.
out.
I have to. I also, you know what? Honestly, I went off of social media for a long time, and it was healthier because I found myself going, why am I not going to this Latino thing? Why am I not? How come I wasn't invited? Then after a while, I'm like, I don't care. Because you know what it's about? It's really about the stories. It's telling these stories, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're having drinks at the Beverly Hilton or something. It's the stories you're telling that inspire other people.
And you said Beverly Hilton, which reminds me of an event we did a while back ago that I'm gonna ask you guys a question on. Yeah. And I said this on another episode. Essentially, I had to use the restroom, went to the hotel. I'm not even sure if it was the Beverly. I forgot what the hotel was. I went to the hotel, and they were doing an event that we had been to. As a cast, as like a show, we went there, we attended it.
I think we got nominated for
We were nominated for literally everything.
Yeah.
Writing, acting, show, everything you could think of, right? Yeah. And the whole
never won.
I don't think we won.
We never won.
Our whole squad was there. We won the Teen Choice Award.
Shout out to Fox Teen Choice Awards.
Fox knows what's up. Nickelodeon knows what's up.
Thank you.
But we went there and nominated for everything, didn't win any awards. I already told the story how I tried to go use the restroom. They wouldn't let me. They're like, no, get out of here. You're not invited. I was like, I just had to pee. I didn't even know you guys were doing this. Sorry about that. But anyway, I wanted to touch on that a little bit. For myself, at that event, you know, it felt like people were pointing fingers and almost trying to put us down a bit, right? And one of the comments that I remember specifically was, we have to stop making TV shows about gangbangers on TV because we're so much more than that. And absolutely, of course, we're so much more than that.
Yeah.
But in my heart, I was like, but this is a reality that is out there. And we're talking about it to bring awareness to it to potentially save lives. And I'd like to say we did save lives. Matter of fact, I've had a kid literally come up to me and said, your show changed my life. I got out of the gang life and I was, it saved my life literally.
That's amazing.
But for myself, and again, I'm never one to complain and be like, they're putting us down, this and that. I'm always like, all right, put me down, dude. We're going to climb on top, always. Totally. And we did for year after year, #1 show, right? But for you guys, did you guys ever get a sense of that? Or I don't know, maybe I'm just making things up. No.
Here's what I got. And I think, I remember Lauren, Jeremy, and I would talk about this is, you guys, that kid show. That kid show. Oh, you want to fucking piss me off? That kid show, right? I'm like, really? So the issues that they're dealing with are kid shows. I'm like, oh, mommy, come on. That's bullshit.
I need more Captain Crunch.
Really, I'm not happy. Yeah. No, so the kid show thing would definitely irk me, one. In terms of the portrayals, I am really proud of what we did because we created 3-dimensional characters. I think Julio brought a lot of life to a character. Look, I'm sure you'll ask us like some of our favorite moments on the show. Yeah. It's those moments because it is.
Which ones come to mind for you? For like like when you said those moments.
No, I'll tell you. Okay, so here, season 1, you guys on the beach, the brothers on the beach. There's something about brothers. I think it's because I have 4 brothers, or stuff with dads, and we connect a lot on this. So season 1, you guys on the beach having the conversation. That's where you really get to see who Spooky is in terms of having to be a dad, right?
Damn,
and such a young age,
too. Wanting to be a chef.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you didn't know dreams that he had to.
You don't know what a shallot is? Exactly.
Think about that.
Think about that.
Everyone will assume, oh, look at that guy. He's in a gang, piece of shit, bad dude, right? I don't think someone is born and they're like, 6 months old, is like, I want to be in a gang. It's like there's limited choices in a tough environment. Yeah. And
but also, who are we to judge? Yeah. I mean, seriously. And, I think about my family and my friends and stuff like that. I'm not judging anybody. Yeah. You know what? This is, for me, it was really important for us. And I shouldn't just say me. That's actually a selfish thing to say. For all of us in the room, when we were writing, it's 3-dimensional characters.
To bring truth to everyone's lives.
To bring truth, to bring honesty. And we said sometimes people, you don't choose the life. Sometimes the life chooses you. Sure. I think we said those things. And that's it. So if someone wants to say, oh, you guys are portraying gangbangers, seriously? Yeah. And that's what your criticism is of our way. That's what the criticism is of our show. It's like, come on. I
would like to argue that's the opposite. It's about literally when you're born into the circumstances and the characters are literally trying to get out of that life. Literally. I mean, even Oscar's character in season 4, he is trying to get out of there. He's trying to go to Portland, I think it was, right?
Right. Which I
just visited. Actually, I was cracking up when I was there. I was thinking you guys.
But think about this though. So wait, so are we not allowed to write about a maid You know,
Yeah.
why we have a show that we're developing now that there is a maid, there is a stockbroker, there is an investment banker. Why can't this all exist? Because it exists in my family. We have a pediatric oncologist in my family, one of my cousins. I don't understand why you can't do those things. My mom cleaned houses for a short time. I can't write about that.
Yeah. No,
So
for
when
sure.
people say you're perpetuating a stereotype, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so there's no cockfighting in any of the things we've done, you know, but it's that kind of stuff. That if that's the criticism, it's like, nah.
No, for sure. And it's art too, right? It's like
art.
putting up a mirror to society and saying, hey, this is what's happening.
This is real.
This is real.
Absolutely.
This is what's happening, right? I mean, even you know, my older brother, when he was very young, he wanted to be a part of a gang. He wanted to be a part of a gang. He did something really dumb that I won't mention. And at 15, he got arrested and he was going to get sent to juvie at 15 years old. He's a kid.
Knowing your mom and dad, I would imagine they're going to whoop him.
Oh, I mean, I can't say that on camera, but
in a good way.
They no, of course they pulled out the chancla, but they ended up sending him to a boarding school because he was either that.
Yes,
or
I
juvie.
feel like we've talked about this.
Yeah, so he got sent away for a good 3 or 4 years, I think, 15, 16, 17, and at 18, 4 years he got sent away.
Wow.
And again, because it was a reality. And dude, I grew up in Corona, bro. Like Corona, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it wasn't
exactly.
East LA, it was Corona.
No.
And that's just a reality, right?
It is.
So I do find it a little bit and again, I genuinely don't care. I think it's funny. I like to laugh about it when people are like, "Oh, you're part of that kids show." Oh,
yeah,
it's like,
the kids show.
It's like, the on the block, I think it's called. I'm like,
I always tell people because I go, "What's your show about?" And I go, "If you went to high school, you probably would like our show, regardless of whether I'm speaking to someone who is white, Asian, black."
Oh yeah,
for
sure, dude. They love the show.
Absolutely.
I did a meet and greet the other day with Julio Macias, and it was crazy. Like the crowd was insane. They were like going crazy over Julio, like spooky. And Julio was like, you know, he had his hair out and everything.
My friend has a niece who lives in Rye. Is it Rye, New York, or Rye,
New York?
Rye, New York is one of the wealthiest cities. Yeah. And she's like, "Oh my god, I love the show. I'm so Jamal." It throws you at first, but I'm like, they see themselves in it,
and at least one character, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to today's episode of On My Pod. Today, I want to share something special about a company that I've been personally working with for the last year and a half. Chic Shoes. Chic Shoes has given me the amazing opportunity to do meet and greets at their stores across the US, allowing me to connect with the most incredible people, my fans. Or, as I love to say, mi familia. Your support and love every time I visit a new state or city with Chic is overwhelming. And I just want to say thank you. Chic Shoes isn't just about selling shoes. They're about making a real impact. They hire Latinos and African Americans, offering jobs both in their retail stores and at their corporate headquarters. They also give back to feeding families on Thanksgiving, bringing communities together, and providing resources to those in need. Chic is an awesome store that offers both online shopping and same-day pickup at their physical locations. If you're looking for some cool clothes and shoes, check them out at chic.com. Shop with purpose, knowing that you're supporting a brand that truly cares about its people and community. All right, let's get back to the episode. For you guys, what was like the funnest character to sort of, I mean, every character I'm sure was fun to develop, but for you guys, like, you know, who is your funnest, or who did you like, you know, when you were writing it as like the writer, like who are you just like, man, I can't wait to write that for that character.
I loved the dynamics between Spooky and Caesar, and I liked their father. I mean, the father's son.
Ray.
Ray, I mean, he was amazing.
Ian, it was unbelievable how good. He's such a great actor.
I loved writing for the three. I loved writing for everyone had different things. Like I have a lot of my personality of certain things. Like when I was a kid, I always wanted a metal detector.
Oh yeah.
And like I was so excited to give Jamal a metal detector. Like there's so much fun. And then
search for treasure and all that.
Everyone has amazing things, right?
Yeah.
I love Jasmine and how powerful she is and strong and confident, but then you see behind the curtain and the relationship between Ruby and
even her and her father too.
Oh, it was
that
great.
was I wouldn't have expected that from season 1 to season 2, you know?
Season 2 is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's such a great season.
And Jeremy, you directed episodes on season 4 and 3, right?
No, and 2. Episode 5.
Oh, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Jeremy directed one of my favorite episodes, episode 5 of season 2, which is Ruby rapping.
Oh yeah!
Oh, at the party.
Ruby rapping.
When he starts the fight, the whole gang war he starts.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah.
So
on accident.
Tell him one of your scenes that you absolutely love in that.
Oh, well, there's, you were trying to think of a couple scenes that I love. One, and then I'll get back to thing. One scene that I loved, season 1.
Oh, yeah.
When you got,
oh man, yeah. When
we
they shaved my
shaved
head on the
Diego's head
show,
and we did it live. And we were like,
one take.
it was a
We
transformation.
only have one. That's right. It's pretty amazing.
And it was sort of crazy because you got some beautiful, luscious hair, my friend.
It's turning gray on me.
No,
Mis
you're
canas,
a
mis canas,
handsome
mis
young
canas,
man.
They're kicking in.
But I love
Viejito.
that was a fun scene because it was just like, wow, we are really going for it. He's becoming a gang member. But then speaking of that, I loved having Danny Ramirez, who played Ruby's older brother.
That's right.
Danny and Ruby in season 2, when Ruby was all depressed laying in bed, and Danny came in and laid down with him, and they bonded, and we kind of shot them laying in bed together. And that scene always
that
meant
was
a
a
lot to
beautiful
me.
moment.
Oh, it's a great.
Two great
Such a
actors, too.
brotherly moment right there.
It is.
That was real, man. That's why.
yeah,
That's why
it's-
people like the show, man.
It's real.
People, man. I hear people say some rude things sometimes online, but I'm like, dude, you can't fake so many people knowing about the show, hearing about the characters and this and that, and it's because you guys wrote such real and authentic stories that people relate to. Like they actually relate to. If you don't relate to my character, maybe you relate to Ruby or Jamal or Monse with her mother and that dynamic.
Oh, absolutely. Well, look at here. Another thing that I loved is Abuelita and Jamal.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't take my eyes off. They're so damn
I'm
funny.
sorry, do you mean Hamal?
Hamal, do you want to date the line when they're watching Dateline? I mean, that stuff is amazing. That was always fun to write.
Yeah.
Peggy is amazing.
She's
Peggy
so
Blow is
good.
amazing.
Another thing in terms of just watching it that's so damn funny is season 2, episode 1. Lauren directed and wrote this episode. Is so damn funny. It's everyone's gathered around the table and they bring and Mario brings Amber.
Oh yeah,
And her
Shoshana, yeah.
The whole Slurpee thing, and she's like, I want to apply for the Latinos, or is it Hispanic? Oh, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Is very, very funny, and the reactions from everybody are just unbelievable. That is a fun moment. That's great. It's a great episode.
That one's so funny. That one's hilarious.
Do you remember? Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that season.
Shoshana crushed that.
She was
made me
awesome,
laugh
bro.
so
She's
hard,
so
man.
good. That made me laugh. A lot of stuff that Brett did. Brett is so damn funny.
He's so funny. Yeah, one of my favorite scenes was when I forgot what season it was. I wasn't there, but I think it's when like Jamal thinks he ate edibles. And he's like tripping out. And he's like, did you guys write that scene?
I don't know if we did that.
I don't think we were.
Here's the other thing though about writing is sometimes again, it's a team effort. Everybody in that room, someone will write a joke, someone will write this scene, whatever.
Could you elaborate on that? Because I think a lot of people don't understand a writer's room. They don't know what that is.
Okay, so our room, season 1, you had Jamie Shiro, Adam Starks, Fran, Sonia, Rob Suddeth, Lauren,
Dooner.
Jeremy, myself, Dooner, Jamie Dooner might as well be a writer. Was it? He was pitching all these really funny things.
Wow.
We're all in the room. We're breaking story, and there's jokes you're writing. There's arcs. There's just it's a team
very
effort.
collaborative.
It's a totally collaborative thing. And then sometimes there's assignments. They'll be like, okay, so Diego, you're going to write. So you have what this is.
Yeah.
Okay, here's your outline. Go now. You know what to do. You have all your notes. You have your packet of notes. You have all your different jokes that are like, hey, in this scene, you could potentially use this. We choose what we want. And then you go off and you write.
Yeah.
And then stuff is rewritten and rewritten and rewritten over and over. And, also, if you remember, you guys started every season with all the episodes written.
Yeah, except for the last ones.
Except for the last one.
You guys would always hold that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in general, though, that was a huge advantage was to be able to have that because then you can arc out, or not, you could lay out how things were going to work.
Yeah.
And you guys had time to go, okay, I'm reading 8 episodes, so I know where my character is going.
Yeah.
As opposed to on other shows, you're writing. I mean, we worked on shows before this where you're writing
episode while you're filming it, while it's coming out.
Absolutely.
Kind of
when
like
we
network
first broke
TV.
into television,
That's
we did that.
crazy, dude. I would get so anxious if I had to do a job like that.
Yeah,
I could not.
It's
Even
tough.
as an actor, I'd be like, there's no way I could do this.
Oh no, it's definitely
I'd have
tough.
breakdowns.
But I'll tell you, when you think about like what was fun about the show, as much as I love production.
Yeah.
I know a lot of other producers don't like production. I love production. Love being out there. I love talking to the transpo guys and craft service. Like I miss Will. Will,
dude.
if you're listening,
dude,
man,
it's such a community, man.
It's
It's the circus, right? And you're part of this insular crazy circus for a couple months, and then it disbands, and then I don't get that nostalgic, but listening to a couple episodes of this, it made me really nostalgic and
Oh,
kind of
yeah?
sad
Oh, yeah.
and really wanted a season 5 and to see everyone
sure.
again. Like
We all wanted a
I was
season
really
5.
excited to come in today just to see you. Like we could have just been having lunch.
Oh man.
Like I'm obviously happy
Yeah.
to do the podcast,
Yeah.
but I love you, dude. And I'm just happy
likewise,
to talk
bro.
about this stuff because we don't really, we're talking about all our new things. You got to keep going and going and going.
sure.
That like, I mean, honestly, I haven't seen any of the seasons since the season they came out. I
But
haven't
Jerry,
seen.
you just hit it. It is the circus, and again, everybody, you have all these performers both in front of and behind the camera. I mean, think about people in makeup. Think about Tanya. Think about hairstyle, Gabby.
Everyone, the
all
whole
of these
gang,
people
man.
who did so much, and people don't see that. You look at Transpo. Some of my favorite stuff is when I'd have Blaine and Sylvia and Gary like show me cars, and they go, "Hey, what do you think of this car for Caesar?" Oh, dude, that's like the coolest thing because you're like, this is what we wrote, and this is what's coming.
And it's coming to life. Yeah. It's like being a little kid and getting your like action figures like life size and like they're moving and talking, right?
Can I tell you something? So when the house, that Ruby's house is based upon my parents' home, from the linoleum and just like the cracks and the imperfections throughout. All the photos in the house, or I'd say 90% of the photos are my family.
Oh, wow.
If you go through, I brought my sister and my nephews in there, the twins who were actually in the opening shot. Of course. Dude, they welled up. Oh, yeah? They see the pictures and they well up because it reminds you of that. That to me, that's personal, So when you see that stuff, it's just such a joy. It's such a joy. And watching it again, I'm just like, oh,
for
man.
sure, dude. And I got to say, you guys never like overlooked like the little things. Like you guys made sure to always like every little detail, even if it was a photo in the house. Yeah, you guys made sure that it had a reason to be there. It had impact. And again, it just like it paints the picture, and that's why people appreciate it.
Well, speaking to that, something that the first thing that popped in my head was Lauren and Jamie were really, really good about that. And Lauren's big thing was, I don't want it to be like, I guess I don't want to diss anyone, but like, I don't want it to be like that show or that show. So when we were going into a bedroom or something, she was very, very good about helping all of us really focus on what the real thing is. Not like, like we were very specific of what they would have or what someone would have.
Totally.
Right.
And but
she was especially,
but
you guys were serving the story, right? Instead of like serving, like making it a glamorous show.
Yeah,
you're like, no,
that's
let's
also
because that's not what they would have.
And there's also things that if we didn't know, we would ask. I have no problem telling you I don't know something at all. In fact, I'm, with Steve, and I think he talked about it, is I asked him the names because originally it was Gangbanger 2. And we're like, let's come up with names. I would always had sad eyes from him after seeing.
I remember that, but you asked him for advice. You're like, what would you call his character?
He goes, Josh should be Joker, and I'm like, that's a great one. And then there was the other guy.
Also,
he's like a freak on all fours. He's awesome. He goes, dude, it's such a great line. He's so good.
His voice.
That voice is awesome.
That
but
voice.
he goes,
wait, I want to hear it. Do it again. I'm gonna do it.
He looks like a freak on all fours. I'm like, dude, I can't do it.
When Monse like tackles me off the skateboard, right?
He's got the best voice.
He's like,
because it's so deep.
What do you say? He's like, damn, must be a freak on all fours.
I love the scene.
And he became also. And that's Steve. Steven, thank you so much for the name. But yes,
Steve was great. Awesome. I love the scenes outside the Santos house. God.
Oh yeah. All of those, dude.
With the bench pressing.
Oh yeah.
And dude, here's the funny thing too. We would always come out and Eddie and I would look at the scene. I'm like, dude, there's only 7 people. They don't need 452 empty bottles. It was like literally everyone in the Santos is a rating.
They go a little overboard. That's true. We're like, I think we got to tone this down.
There'd be like 100 Mickeys outside and like King Cobras, like the 4.
There's like 4 of you and there's 287.
And you'd have a day player going, yeah, but I heard they like to drink a lot. I go, yeah, but it wasn't 100 people here. It was just 6 dudes here hanging out.
I remember that, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to ask you, especially you, Jeremy, like how do you manage the pressure and like the stress of like being a writer on the show, being a producer on the show, directing the show? Like, how do you manage that? And because I'm facing a part in my life where I'm doing a lot of projects and there's a lot of people that I guess need me to excel so that they do good in businesses and this and that, family, whatever. But like, how do you manage that when it comes to the dynamic on a set, being the director, being essentially the captain of the ship? Like, do you feel pressure when you're doing all these things?
I feel a tremendous amount of pressure directing, mostly because of the time crunch. So the time crunch is this never ending, right? Because you want to be creative.
The sunlight too, like you can't control that.
And time is money.
Yeah,
and if you go in the overtime, if you go past lunch and then
Meal
grace
penalties.
and meal penalties,
you gotta pay,
and everyone is up your ass telling you about it. So you want to be creative and do all these cool shots and do whatever you want and make everything beautiful, but you realize you have to sort of pick your battles and what's the most important. So there might be a scene where, you and Monse are just like, hey, a quick scene where you got to kiss and hug and everything's good, right? I mean, we really didn't have scenes like that. And you try to do that as simple and quick as possible so that you could get that extra half hour in the scene where you guys are going to break up. And so you want to
coverage and all that
right.
stuff.
So you want to be able to focus that out. But I mean, it's a huge responsibility. I mean, luckily.
Can I say something to that point? And this is something that we try to shield the actors from. Like these are conversations that as a director, producer, we're having so you guys don't have to deal with it. Because
and you guys were really good about that. I never really felt like the stress of
we never
that,
wanted
honestly.
to show. We're like
never ever.
Listen, we'd have Netflix on us. We'd have a UPM going. That's right, budget. You got to make your day. You got to do this.
Yeah.
We weren't going to go to you guys because there'd be times where you guys were really good about. Hey, can we get another take? Another take. If we could afford to do that take, we would do it. But in general, we're like, we've got bosses to serve. Yeah. So that's.
But it was always cool because we always trusted you guys. We're like, all right, well, if they said we got it, I think we got it. Hey, do you remember that one time that we had one of the Netflix execs there, and I didn't know that they were there? I was like 18 or 19 at the time, and I was like, she is so pretty. I was like, I was like, I was like, I want to marry her. And she was in Video Village watching everything.
And you got a hot mic.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And I'm looking at you.
I was so green, dude. I didn't know that you could hear everything.
Do you remember what I did?
And you're like, hey, just so you know.
No, how did I do it though? I go, hey, te voy a decir en español.
Te
que te están grabando lo que está pasando.
Te están grabando, escuchan todo, bro. And then I was like, at lunch, I was so embarrassed, dude. I was blushing. And then she walks by and she's like, hi, Diego. I was like,
she's great.
Mi corazón, pero ya estoy casado. Yeah, aléjate.
Aléjate. No, she's awesome.
So that pressure really comes from time then. It comes from the time crunch and like the budget stuff.
I have the advantage of being one of the writers and executive producers and creators. So I know the show, I know the characters, like I know all that stuff. I don't have to come in and cram, like, if I was going to do someone else's show, I'd have to learn all the characters.
Sure, yeah.
I'm doing our show, the show that we all have done together. So I have the ability to really know it in depth. But when you're there and you're running out of time, that's what's hot. I mean, it's
in
hot.
The summer.
In the summer.
In the summer. But it's always, we weren't a huge show and we didn't have a ton of money. We eventually became a huge show. Budget-wise. Yeah. Fans and love and street cred became huge.
Crazy.
But I remember directing and like looking out, and I'm not going to name names, but looking at some of the money guys staring at me, and they're just like glaring at me. And I remember literally having to go outside with Eddie and get some breath, and I was like, I felt like I was going to have a heart attack.
Oh shit!
Because they're pretty hardcore about things, especially season 2.
Oh really? Dude, I didn't even pay attention to that.
Yeah,
and we try to shield. We
bro.
always, Lauren, Jeremy, and I would always try to shield our directors from that. Because in TV, obviously, it's not the director who's in charge.
But I would know as
showrunner and co-creators are doing stuff. Yeah, but he would know because he's dealing with it on this one, and you just try to shield people.
You know what's funny? I had one instance. I won't say their name, but it was a money guy on set, and I remember the scene. It was the scene in season 2 where I'm going to Ruby's house, and Paula answers the door, and she sort of turns me away.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I was, it was one of those scenes where I was like, man, this is a great scene. I hope I bring justice to it. And I remember I was in the corner prepping up and I had my headphones in, listening, some sad music, getting in the mindset of the character and whatnot. And I'm pacing back and forth. And, I won't say their name, but they go to me and they're like, hey, no cell phones on set. Get your headphones off. Like you gotta go to work. Like get in the zone. And I'm like, dude, what do you think I'm doing? Right. Like, I'm literally doing that right now. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, of course. And then as soon as you walked in, I was like, bro, come on.
I never question your work ethic. I tell you that.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, dude. You're the real deal.
Yeah.
Thank you, bros. I really appreciate that. So we covered some of the funner scenes to write, but what was some of the most, I guess, more challenging scenes for you guys to write? Did you guys have a scene that was like really hard or tough for you guys to write? Or maybe you broke your heart to write? I don't know.
Yeah, there's 2 scenes. One, because I remember in the writer's room, we used to do this thing we would joke around, we call it EP theater, where the executive producers would kind of act out the scene sometimes. And I'm sure you saw it. Sometimes we would do it for you guys.
Yeah, I have a video of you guys doing it.
You in the diner where I'm like, Jeremy and I go, Jeremy, I want you to think. It was the scene where you hooked up with
I was directing it, and Eddie and I were you. I
go, Jeremy, you're going to throw me on the table. This is what he's going to do, blah, blah, blah. But yes, one of the hardest ones was Spooky talking to Ray, to his dad, and saying the hardest thing about being, a son was having to be a father
without ever having been a son.
Writing that,
Whoa.
I remember tearing up and looking in the room, and Jamie Yoshiro and Adam and Jeremy, we were all in the room. We were all like welling up talking about this because it means so much. I mean, that thinking about it now just means something. It's just special, it's because you're again, you want to make it as honest as possible, and it breaks your heart. And that scene was just awesome. The other scene, that writing it, and this is a tribute to you guys, because we wrote it and it was sad when we were writing it, but you guys, I'll tell you what it is. It's episode 9, season 2, again, my favorite season, the bus stop. When you're about to go on the bus at the Greyhound and you are saying goodbye to Ruby and Jamal, and you look at him and you go, goodbye, compa, and Jason says to you, he goes, I'd take another bullet for you. And Jamal is
dude, I just got chills.
And Jamal, look, Brett's so fucking good. He's so good in this. As he looks at you and he goes, man, and you said, Brett, or sorry, Jamal, it was an honor to be your roommate and your friend, or something like that. What you say, dude, I'm telling
you guys are making me cry right now, man.
I can honestly say I watched that and I remember going, fuck, you guys made this even better than what was on the page. And you can see the love between the three of you. Yeah. And then how does it get any better? Oh, I don't know. Monse comes running up in that great moment. And the music I'm going to probably
God, I want another season.
No, it's like the Vancouver, whatever the music is, but it's so good. Dooner put the music in that was so fucking good in that moment. She comes up and that's when you tell her I slept with someone.
I'm like, I slept with someone.
It's great.
Like, yeah, right.
You see it on her face and it's palpable. Yeah. You're watching that. Dude, we were in Village watching that and we're like, oh my God. And when she shoves you, that's a real shove. Those are the kinds of moments that.
Another one that was tough that I'm thinking of, when Peggy was dying and she was with Brett and she's talking about it and she goes, you kids gave me a reason to keep living. And that was like, because that relationship between Peggy and Brett was amazing. Yeah. Right? Like, who would have thought? I mean, just thinking of those. I mean, there's so many that I love, but like, there's just so many funny things about that relationship. Like later on, Ruben Sr. is like asking, did you guys ever hook up? And them like smoking weed and like, I mean, they had such an unbelievable chemistry. And then, having her die.
And season 4, I mean, that was, when I read that, dude, you guys threw so many, like, what do they call it, curveballs at me when I was reading it. I was like, I remember when I was reading the end of season 1, the very ending, I was like, did I just die? Did I just get shot? I was like, did I piss somebody off? I was like, wait, let me reread that. I was like, oh no, Jason got shot. I was like, I'm good. Who came up with that idea? Because that scene put us on the news everywhere.
That was before, I mean, this is when we pitched it. Right. This is when we pitched it. It was the three of us who were coming up with this happened. But here's the interesting thing, behind the scenes, so to speak. So obviously there's the huge cliffhanger. Oh my God, did Ruby die? Right. So everybody wants to know everywhere we go, did Ruby die? Did Ruby die? Did Ruby die? We'd get asked that constantly. But I'll never forget, in season 2, we were shooting at Burroughs High School. That's where we shot. And you see Ruby. And people are like, oh my God, he's alive. And people pull their cameras at him. And this is when you have to really, really think fast. You're like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, looking at this going, shit. And I'm covering set and I'm looking at this and they go, oh my God, he's alive. And I go, these are flashbacks. These are flashback episodes. I go, oh, right. And you like, and then we put up big
I remember that,
stuff. And we're scrambling.
Because we had to keep them a secret for so long.
You had to keep it a secret for a year.
Dude, that trailer broke records. When his eyes, when you look at him and it looks like he's in a casket and then his eyes open up. Yeah. Dude, the fans went crazy over that.
I have a funny story.
Yeah.
I think we could all agree that Jason is confident.
Of course.
I love Jason.
Yeah. Me and Jess talked about it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love Jason. He's a great actor.
Oh, he's amazing. He's great.
He's amazing. I love that dude. Sure. I'd love to see him. Jason, I love you. But so Jason gets shot and if he's going to live or die. And we wanted to scare him a little. And we're like, Jason, aren't you nervous? Like, we don't know what's going to happen in season 2. We did. And he's like, no, I'm not nervous. I'm like, why? He's like, because all the sets are like my bedroom, my house, it's my family. You guys, it's too expensive to kill me. I'm fine. And I'm like, motherfucker, he knows it.
This is what a film veteran knows. That's right, because he was coming off of Logan. It's like, I know the game.
That's so funny. That's such a Jason answer right there.
And I'm like, because I wanted to scare him a little.
But that's really cool. I didn't even think about that. That's really smart. Because if I was him, I'd be like, there's no way. It's my house. It's my family. It's my
Very,
everything.
very
I mean,
smart. Yes.
of course, anything could happen, sure, but yeah.
We could have brought the twins and made them
Yeah.
the Invisible Twins.
The Invisible Twins.
That's season 5
Yeah.
right there. The Invisible Twins.
be great.
So let me ask you this. If there was to be a season 5, I'm not saying, that's even been an idea with the studio or anything, but I'm just saying, like, for you guys creatively, what would you guys explore if there were to be a season 5? God. Creatively, like, where would your minds want to go?
Jeremy, is this where Caesar has a kid?
Oh,
I don't know. It's funny.
Well, Caesar was going to go up to Portland with
Yeah.
his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And I remember that. I think
Well, the idea also of potentially of Jasmine and Ruby going to the same school, same college, it would be hard because people are split off. Believe me, we want all of us.
Yeah.
Every one of us wanted a season 5.
Sure.
We really did. But I think
Yeah.
Netflix ran the numbers. And listen, I will forever appreciate what they
Of
did.
course.
They gave us
Dude, of
the
course.
biggest break of our lives here.
Yeah,
And
of
you got
course.
4 seasons of it. So
we love Netflix.
We totally love them.
I said, yeah.
But yes, I
Say
know.
the same
But
thing.
I just fans, just wanted it and wanted it.
Oh, for sure.
Talking about going back for 1 second when you're talking about Peggy and her death and Spooky's death, I'd like to thank them because they were responsible for the death threats that we got.
Oh my God! Stop! You guys got death threats?
Oh, dude,
You're lying. In the mail or on Instagram?
DMs.
They really like him.
They went after me.
Oh
how
my God.
dare you kill Spooky? And then the threat that was the first one was how dare you kill Spooky? And then it's like you big ass forehead guy. I'm like, I don't think my forehead's
Stop.
that big, or maybe it is that, but whatever.
Oh
Big,
my
and
God.
then I'm not kidding. This person just went off and says, you know what? I hope you die. I hope you fall downstairs. I'm not kidding you. Just
No
went
way.
off. And then when Abuelita died,
Oh
again,
my God, bro.
what is wrong with you? How do you kill? What? I hope you. Oh, dude, the
Oh,
death threats. And you
shit,
look at
man.
it, and you're like, and it's
Yeah.
interesting because when we started, I mean, we dealt with this stuff unfortunately on something
Yeah.
else once, but this kind of thing,
Oh,
it
it's
just
next
makes you think
level.
how the passion fans have.
Yeah.
I appreciate that passion,
Oh,
but I
for
just
sure.
want them to know it is make believe.
Yeah.
And Peggy's all right. Julio's walking around here.
The number one question I get asked all the time, whether it's a meet and greet, and when I'm with Julio, he gets asked this all the time too. Who killed Spooky?
Yeah.
So I know creatively as writers, you
Yeah.
guys had to have come up with some sort of backstory.
But that's the beauty, though. The beauty is that it's up to interpretation.
It's
We have an idea. We have an idea.
So it's supposed to make the
Yeah.
audience decide for themselves.
absolutely.
But if you, as the
Did-
audience,
did-
as
did
the
the
audience
life-
member, who
I
do
have
you
an
think?
answer.
Go for it.
I think that what we mostly discussed is that when you're in the life for that long and did what he did for that long, there's enough
Enemies.
doors you opened. There's
Mm.
enough enemies you've created. There's enough problems. There's everyone is waiting. It could have been a whole host of different people, right?
Could have been somebody close to them.
Could have been
yeah.
cops, dude. Could have been anything.
Undercover
it could have
cops
been
or something, yeah.
There's so many. You're right. There's so many different.
But
suspects.
if you weren't a part of the show and you were just an audience member, who would you say it was?
do you know what's interesting? In a lot of ways, it'd be interesting if it was a random person because it's easy to point fingers.
Oh, it's their initiative to get in.
Exactly.
Dude, that happens all the
Exactly.
time.
Totally.
Exactly.
Whoa.
People can easily go, oh, it's Santos or Prophets. You go, or what is it-
18th Street.
What is it? Or 18th Street. What if it's some up and comer trying to make a name for themselves? That's why the
Gil
fact
was
that
a
it's,
great actor.
The fact that it's
Yeah,
completely.
those guys are really good.
All three of
do you
those
Do you
guys.
remember his? You talked about auditions on some of the other things, and we'll always remember your auditions.
Oh yeah.
Can we talk about your?
I was
audition?
gonna say, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I would love that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I always remember your audition with Julio because first of all, you guys,
Oh.
it's like you planned it. You're wearing the same outfits.
Grabbed his head
That's
or
right.
something.
They're wearing the same black
Remember?
shirt, right?
Yeah.
And he grabbed your head, right?
Still have a
and
welt
he goes,
on my forehead.
he goes, Háblame. And he brings your head to
Bring your
his,
head,
hits it, and we're watching like, oh my god, and we're like, wow, done, check. They got it was so good.
That's funny.
There was so much heat between you
Yeah.
guys just bringing it. You're like, they're brothers. I
Yeah.
totally get that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I want to add on to that because I just watched the audition tapes for that recently, actually, and we did 2 scenes.
You
The
have
first-
those tapes?
They were online. I think they're on the OMB Writers like old Twitter or X
That's
page.
so funny.
But I
Okay.
remember we did 2 scenes.
Uh-huh.
The second one was obviously the more intense one where it's like do or die time, that scene.
That's right.
But the one before that, we're just at the beach. And I remember in that scene, I said something to Julio and I slapped his back. And I don't know if I actually slapped it that hard, or if the audio in the audition tape was just that loud.
It's that loud.
But I literally, I say something, I slap Julio's back and it makes the loudest sound. It's like, whoop, boom. And you can see Julio's face kind of be like, like a little bit. And I think in the next scene, because he told me after, he's like, yeah, when you shoved me, because I also shoved him too. He's like, as soon as you shoved me, that woke me up. And I was like, nah, bro. And I grabbed your head and I freaking headbutted you. He's like,
that was great.
I snapped into the character. Really quick, I have a question for you guys. Have you ever dreamed about starting an acting career? If so, well, what's stopping you? Did you know that nearly all major casting calls and auditions for huge Hollywood productions are now done online via Zoom from a laptop? That means that anyone from anywhere has a fair shot at starring in their favorite TV shows and movies, but only with the right resources. My best tip, join my online acting studio, The Actors Campus. At The Actors Campus, I've created a comprehensive blueprint with over 50 hours of video lessons where you can learn absolutely everything from the craft side of acting to the business and networking side of Hollywood. Here, you'll have access to one of the best talent showcases, giving you the chance to participate and potentially get signed by some of the best talent agents and managers in this industry. I'm pretty sure I've even seen my own agent attend the showcase. Plus, you'll also be a part of a vibrant community center where you can attend your weekly live classes with myself teaching you every single week. And I'll also be bringing in industry guests who provide you insights into how show business actually works. You'll also receive exclusive invitations to movie screenings and Q&A panels hosted by yours truly, where you can connect with other community members and learn from industry professionals who you admire, or at least semi-look up to. So, if acting is something you're genuinely interested in, visit thediegotinoco.com and join our community that I'm proud to call the Actors Campus.
Let me ask
now we're here sitting, chatting about it.
So let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
Putting you on the spot, but in a good way. So you and Sierra, right?
Yeah.
Vonce, who's a wonderful actress and a wonderful person, had a very up and down, tumultuous relationship on the show, right? You're together, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
As an actor, you are created that character and are that character. And then cut, all right, we're going to lunch and you're with Sierra. How do you, what is it like after she just yelled at you or you yelled at her, or how is it like to be a friend? And it doesn't even have to be specific to Sierra. It could even be a scene with Jason where you're telling Jason, you da-da-da-da-da-da. How is it to turn that off? How do you do that? Because I'm not an actor. I've taken some acting classes, but turning it on and off.
It's, with me, it's weird. I go based off of people's energy. So I'm a really awkward person. Like, I don't think people understand this. I think Lauren gets it. Because me and Lauren, she'll toy around with me. I saw the other day, and I had bear spray on my pocket, and I pull it out. I'm like, hey, I'll walk you guys your car. I got some bear spray. And she looks at me, and she starts cracking up. Like,
you just bought bear spray?
Yeah, because we were in LA, dude, and I was like, I don't come out here. This craziness. I'll spray you with bear spray.
Didn't you bring your bear spray?
You want to know something? I have been thinking about recently getting bear spray.
but I'm really awkward, so I go based off of people's energy. But Brett's got amazing energy. Sierra's got amazing energy. So I really felt like the little brother there on set. And I was just sort of taking everything.
Were you the youngest?
Ronnie was the youngest.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, but I was the second youngest. So me and Ronnie were the youngest. But yeah, they were, the cast was a couple years older than me. And I just followed their lead on kind of what to do, what was working, if there wasn't anything that was working. I would study everybody and,
Sure.
But yeah, I would just follow their lead. I think I have this saying, it's like, there's a time to be a leader and there's a time to be a follower, like the student, right? I feel like a lot of people nowadays, they just want to be the teacher right away. Sure. And it's like, dude, you haven't even paid your due diligence. You haven't paid your dues of being the student. So I like to say, like, that entire time shooting, I was just a student, learning, soaking in information, seeing what you guys were doing, seeing how you guys manage conversations and creative decisions. And I learned, dude, honestly, that was my university, man. Truly was. On my block was my university.
And I think for us, we learn too, because it makes you a better writer. You start writing to people's strengths. You go, okay, we're not going to give this actor this, but we will give him that. Like Brett with the physical comedy. Yeah. We're like, okay, let's do this some more because we know he can pull it off. Yeah. And you'd want to write more of those things. Yeah. Your vulnerability in season 2, you're like, let's write, we just know.
What was your guys' favorite season to write?
Mine was 2.
Mine was 2. I love 2.
I love 2 on so many levels. I love it. Yeah. I mean, we talked about the cinematography. I think it's a beautiful.
Cinematography is cool.
Just the colors.
Was Money Bunny in season 2?
I think that was
I think
3 because we're at the lunch table and then Jasmine's showing
Yeah.
it. I remember based on my hair. I'm like, how did my hair look? Oh, okay, that was season 3.
Yeah,
I always
there's
remember that.
a lot. I mean, look, Jason's going through all the PTSD, and Ruby's character is going through that in season 2. The stuff going on with you and your brother. The end, you're supposed to leave.
Yeah.
The great scene in episode 9 that ends it when you walk into the prophet's
Oh,
territory,
yeah,
and the
dude.
Denzel Curry song is playing, and you're walking in. Ultimate. Oh, it's great.
That soundtrack was so fire.
It's amazing.
That was
Dooner.
Jamie, right?
That's
Dooner?
Dooner was
Dooner. If you're
Dude.
listening, it's unbelievable.
That was
Yeah,
that
crazy.
dude knows music.
He
like,
put he put on so many artists that like right after their song was on our show, they blew up like crazy. Little Pump was one of them, and I think
There's a Billie Eilish. We have a Billie Eilish
Billie
song.
Eilish before
Her
yeah,
is on
dude.
there.
Yeah, Jamie Dooner's crazy.
and-
with
and what-
music.
Kevin,
Ben,
my boy
and
Kevin
Ben also.
Abstract. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Yeah,
has
Ben
that on there.
Hochstein.
Yeah,
Ben
Ben-
Hochstein
yeah,
was Dooner's partner with
Yeah.
music, and Hochstein is great
Ben
too.
was great also, and then the music from Kovas.
Oh
Dude,
yeah,
look
yeah.
at-
Oh yeah.
look at-
Lauren was
look
telling me
at
about
the-
him
look
too.
at
Yeah.
the-
I love
mean,
Kovas. I
Look
haven't
at
seen him.
this. I mean, the music.
Oh, we got to get another
There's
season.
there's so many great elements. But yeah, season
Yeah.
2 to me in a lot of ways, and I think also you see your growth. If someone were to
Sure.
watch the show, just watch all 4 seasons, just binge it. You see the growth in these characters.
Yeah.
You really do.
And the actors too. I
The
feel
actors,
like,
you
right?
see everything, and then also,
Oh, yes.
and
Yeah.
let's shout out to all the supporting actors and people
Oh,
who.
for sure.
I mean, you look at Coach. Coach was great.
Oh,
look
yeah,
at,
yeah,
look at,
yeah,
look at,
yeah.
look at Reggie is playing Monty, and look
Mhm.
at Emmy. Emmy's so good, and Paula and
Yeah.
Eric
Emmy
and
is the best.
and a guy that we worship. We love Emilio.
Mm. Oh, dude, Emilio's
my
the
God,
best.
Emilio
Yeah.
Rivera.
You got to get
And
Emilio.
I
in
need
here.
to get him
Emilio
on,
there.
right?
I'll tell you. Here's the thing
Which
about
I call him
Have
right
a-
now.
I need to know. Where's
they
the
always
gnome at?
they always tell you.
You
Oh,
have one?
Have one in the other room, I think. Yeah, is he somewhere in there?
I know they always.
Which I have to tell you guys a story about that.
Oh no, let me tell you.
Oh, sorry, but
they
yeah,
always-
after.
like you'll hear people go, "Oh, you really shouldn't say who your favorite actor is or this and that." People you've worked with and stuff, because you don't want to offend anybody. And no disrespect, we've been fortunate to work with a lot of really good actors.
Yeah.
And but to me, Emilio in so many ways is the real deal, not just as an actor, as a human. You watch him on set and the way he handles himself, it's it's beautiful. It's a thing of beauty because he is kind to everybody.
Everyone.
In scenes, he's
Everybody.
great. He knows exactly what to do. But you'd see why he talked to the security guard. He talked to everybody. We were at a nursery. He's talking to the guys working in the nursery. He's posing for pictures. He's doing everything.
Yeah.
He's just a good person. We worked on Gang Related with him.
Oh, wow.
Love that dude. I'm telling you, I can't say enough of him. He's incredibly funny. People don't realize
Absolutely.
that. And he is the real deal.
Mm.
When you look at him
On and off screen, yeah.
Oh,
I have this funny TikTok where I'm going. I used to do this to everybody on set. I would go up behind them, like while they're like in the zone or doing something on their phone, and I go up behind them, I record them, and I tap them on the shoulder, and I'd be like, I can't do it right now because my voice is going.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd be like, excuse me, sir, and I tap him on the shoulder. And then one time I did tell Milo, he's like, oh yes, ma'am. What do you need? And he's like, oh, you got me, man. Nah, he's like, you pranking me, bro.
He's just a great guy.
He's so good,
he's
man.
awesome,
He's a
dude.
good guy.
Yeah.
What about for you, Jeremy? What was your favorite season to create?
I directed an episode when you were in in juvie.
Oh yeah, in season 4.
And
Season 4.
we
Yeah.
thought, and then there was we thought
You went up to Bakersfield or so. right?
Yeah.
Is that- yeah.
Oh, it wasn't
You
juvie.
went- no,
Oh
you
my
went-
God, I
oh,
totally
I'm
forgot.
like, and then both, and you're like, oh yeah, right. I'm like,
I remember being
The
in
farm.
juvie. I was like,
the farm.
I remember
What
the
show
farm.
did you
Yeah.
It was a different
And then
show.
I'm starting to think, oh my god, maybe I'm having
Diego and I did another show we haven't told anyone about.
Yeah, you went to the farm.
Went to the
go
farm.
to go talk to your
That
dad.
episode
Dude,
was
those
really
episodes were
cool
dope.
when you met oh my God, I'm zoning out, but when you met Little Ricky.
Little Ricky,
The real
yeah,
Little
that's
Ricky.
right. Yeah,
That's a great. Yeah.
that was a great episode. I forgot about
That's a
those.
great-
Dude, that, but talking about time.
Clearly very memorable.
But talking about time.
Hold on a second. Hey Diego, this is Jeremy. Jeremy and Diego.
So
I
the time
forgot
you were-
about those because they're so different. Like I'm so used to like the
Yes.
Free Ridge, but
Yes.
that was like a different set. We shot there for 2 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember those.
That was a
those
lot.
scenes.
That was, you're talking earlier about a time crunch and stress.
Mhm.
That one was, do you remember? Everyone we were still shooting the final scene, and it was you
Mm.
and Little Ricky at the car. And literally everyone is at Video Village and they're all falling asleep other than Eddie and I. And literally, I'm not going to say any names, but even the health and safety guys who are supposed to keep everyone 6 feet away because COVID, they're just like,
Oh my god.
that was also, one of the biggest challenges
Yeah.
in terms of what makes it, fun
Sure.
and what was the best season.
Sure.
Here's what sucked when you think about it. We never got a formal goodbye. We never got, a
That's right, because the
season 3
pandemic
premiere,
hit. We
season
canceled
4
the premiere for 3 and 4.
Yeah. And then even 3 and 4, we all had those damn masks on, face shields and stuff like that.
I felt so distanced from everybody, bro.
Oh, totally.
I wanted to give you guys
Because
all hugs, and I was like,
but that's the way we were every season. We would joke
course,
around
dude.
like that, and that felt a little weird,
Yeah.
But
yeah, I will say though, you were saying that was the most stress you ever been, dude. You got, like I said, I didn't even know that you guys were under stress. You were so like calm, cool, and collected. I have a TikTok while we were shooting that episode where I'm trying to get a pump in with the rubber bands, and you come up behind me. I didn't even know you were behind me, and you like stick out your tongue, and you're like being a jokester, dude.
Yeah.
And I remember I posted that on TikTok, and everyone's like, "Oh, you guys look like you're having a blast." And I'm like, "Yeah, we were having a blast.
We were having
even
a
under
blast.
pressure. Like you guys,
we
like
try
the
to keep it
greatest,
away
man.
from you. The other scene that I thank you for that compliment. The other scene that I loved directing that was so hard was when all the kids, and I think you were up at the
Did
farm.
you just call them kids?
I mean, we're
But they're kids,
16.
they're kids
kid
to me.
inside,
That's right.
yeah.
Because I'm old. When all, but no, on the show they're kids though. When all the high schoolers
15, 16.
were telling their parents the truth about everything they had been lying to. So we had the huge scene
Around the table.
Around the table.
Yeah.
And it was really crazy. It was a super fun scene. Eddie and I wrote the episode, but it was like a 7-page scene of Jamal and his parents, Ruby and his parents, Monse and her
dad.
father, and telling the truth. And Abuelita was there, and it was super complicated because it was like 12 people in a scene. It was like 7 pages. Everyone had COVID. So like there's one episode where I had 3 different cinematographers, I think.
Oh yeah,
Because everyone kept getting sick. So I was working with a different person every day. But that scene was a blast because it was like all the now I'm embarrassed to say kids, but all the high schoolers telling their parents the truth, and the truth was being revealed about like what, all the crazy antics that happened and who saw what. And that was a lot of fun. That was a fun episode.
No, for sure. The whole show is a blast, guys. I truly can't thank you guys enough. Obviously, as an actor breaking into the industry, it's you guys really took a bet or a chance on, I can say myself at least, and some of the rest of the cast. But that show changed my life, man. And it changed more than, just my life. It changed so many people around the world's lives. Genuinely. Like actually. Like I know there's that saying, it's like, we're not saving lives here. We're just doing show business. And sure, that's true. It's entertainment, right? I'm not saying we're doctors here, but you guys created something that will literally live on for hopefully the world doesn't blow up tomorrow, but hundreds and thousands of years, man. Like people will always carry that inspiration from this show. If there was one piece of inspiration for you guys to give to the audience watching that, for the young kids watching this with dreams who are in hard circumstances, what would you tell them and why? Like what, something that maybe you would want to hear if you were them when you were younger?
I would tell them that your stories matter. That's what I would say, because everyone has a story, and I know people think, well, why me? I mean, I love it. Look, why me? I grew up in Linwood and Compton. You'd be like, what does he have to tell? Well, there's a lot to tell. You see it on screen. And I know that there are other kids out there that are 12 or 13 or whatever it is, or even someone who's 35, 40 years old and is in a job that they hate, but they can tell stories and they have this unique perspective on the world. Tell your story. So that's what I would say. Everyone has a story to tell. I truly believe.
Yeah,
you just have to know how to tell it.
Yeah, and you have to own it too.
And you have to own it, and you have to have the work ethic. It really comes down to that, because I think it reminds me. I mean, it's like the Cypress Hill song. You want to be a rock superstar. It's it's a fun job, but it's still a job. Of course. And there's going to be someone out there who's going to take your place. So you've got to always hustle and always work your ass off. And it's not, the wrong question is, how do I become a star? You just want to get in the game. That's really what it is.
I love that. I love that, bro. How about for you, Jeremy? For the younger you watching this, who's out there, like, what would you tell them?
Well, it's interesting. I think a lot of the things Eddie said are very accurate. The thing that I would say is listen. Because so many people now I'm sort of getting political, but so many people now don't listen, and they have their opinion or their thoughts or how something should work, or I just want listen and look and learn and try to understand why something is happening. So to me, it's listen. So many people don't listen to someone else or to the other side of an argument or something, you need to listen. You know, we're all going through stuff. We're all human. Listen, try to find commonality. I guess I'm making more of a we are the world speech than speaking to a younger person.
Do you want to hold my hand?
But Eddie gave the inspiration to the younger generation. I'm giving it to the older generation of listen.
Sure.
You know, open your ears, your hearts, and see what other people have to say.
For sure. I want to tell you guys a little story. So you guys had this sort of I guess like magic that happened in the show with the gnomes and all of that stuff where they'd pop up out of nowhere at special times, you know, when I think it was when Spooky passed and season 4, episode 9, or maybe it was 10, where he pops back up again.
Sure.
Dudes, check this crazy story out. I can't make this shit up.
Okay.
One of my best friends just passed, and we just buried him last week.
I'm sorry.
So he just passed. He was 26.
Sorry, bro.
He
cancer.
got diagnosed with leukemia. He battled it for 2 years. He was battling it, man, but it was so aggressive. So he just passed. We just buried him. And I can't even make this up. The day we started shooting this batch of episodes.
Okay.
I like to shoot in bulk. The day before, I'm packing up all these figures, all these guys. And I find this one right here. And this is Superman, obviously, right? His nickname was Superman. We used to call him Superman. I swear to God, I never have bought one of these. I've only had the Ikis because I did the Phoenix Knight. And I'm literally, dude, I'm going through all my action figures and I have this guy.
And you don't know where it came from.
I have no clue where it came from.
That's crazy.
I swear to, I was
awesome.
like,
but
are you kidding? I was like, what are the odds,
him
dude?
Being there, man.
Of course, bro.
I believe that stuff.
Truly,
dude, I believe that.
I was like, dude, I've never ordered one of these. I've never had one of these. Like, I've never went out of my way to buy these. They sent me those productions. So I was like, what the heck? So I was like, what the heck? But yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys,
that's
man,
really cool.
You guys made magic, and you know,
we all made magic.
Yeah, we made magic, bro.
Really,
but man,
really
I'm gonna always keep this guy forever because of what it stands for. But yeah, man. Anything you guys want to touch on before we wrap this up? I know you guys are working on exciting projects, and I don't know what you can or can't share. That's why I never like to ask.
We're developing a project with Eva Longoria right now.
Dude, incredible.
Yeah, it's really fun. She's
crushing
she's
it with
great.
everything.
She's
amazing.
She's
Flamin'
awesome.
high.
Yeah, exactly. Emilio again.
Oh yeah, Emilio. Yeah.
So we're working with her and Chris Abrego, and we've got a couple of other things that we're working on.
Oh, cool.
And but the other thing I do want to hit on, it just probably going off tangent, is even for people that are watching this or listening to this, even if you don't want to be a writer or an actor. There's probably a place for you in other things. That's why we were talking about people, like editors. Think about editors. Like, look at Arlen and his post-production team that he put together. I know you've thanked the editors because they've helped with performances.
Oh, dude, all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening to this and they go, well, I don't really want to be a writer, or director, or actor. What can I gain from this? If you want to gain anything, production design, transpo. There's so many things you can do. Sure. And that's the beauty of this business. And look, it's getting harder and harder. Let's be honest. There are fewer jobs out there, but there's space. There's definitely space for kids to go out there and say, this is what I want to do. You're 18, 19, and you're looking for something to do. And this is something you absolutely love. You want to tell stories because all those people, in a lot of ways, are contributing to the story. When someone in Transpo brings you a green car and does this, you go, oh, that's an interesting car. We can use this in terms of how it serves story.
Yeah.
So sorry to just go off.
It's puzzle pieces. Like we're putting the puzzle together, right?
Absolutely.
And everybody has their own effort, touch. Man.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. If we do a On My Block musical, what would be the theme song for you? What would be what would be a song that you'd be like, yeah, let's put that one in the musical? For you, what was one of those tracks?
You mean a song from the...
No. For like any song you can think of.
That's
not from the show. Like I think like Money Bunny and all that.
Yeah.
What would be a good song, like the opening one? Because you guys had that song called On My Block by Scarface, right? And that was like the last song that played. That was awesome. So that would, that could be one.
I got to tell you that's a tough one. And this one, I love music so much, but it's like I don't know.
No,
I'd like to see you guys doing Grease Lightning.
Oh shit!
You kind of got the hair slicked back, the Danny Zuko going on.
Me and Sierra, dude. I want to bring up that scene. Do you guys remember episode 10? It was the dancing scene where it's right before Latrell comes in there. Have you guys ever seen that scene up close where I'm dancing with Sierra? Have you seen the way I'm holding her hand? I'm literally holding her thumb because I had no idea how to dance. So I'm literally holding her thumb and I'm just like swaying from side to side. And it was the most awkward thing ever. And see, I was like, I have
That's pretty
Have
funny.
you guys ever paid attention to that scene though?
No.
Well, I mean, I've looked at the
no.
scene, but I've never been like, what's the? I've never said anything like that.
I'm gonna insert a clip of it, and I'm gonna make it.
Wait,
a
is
real
that
scene.
it's at the end?
It's the very end. Yeah.
The
Oh,
at
that's
the
that was-
Quince?
Yeah, at the Quince. Yeah. I literally, I'm dancing with her. And
Oh, in season 1.
Season 1, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I do a little dip for her, and I remember in a rehearsal, I accidentally dropped her on her. Do you remember that? Oh, I'm sweating just thinking about it.
I
Sierra's
thought
gonna
you were
watch this and
talking
be
about
like,
the party.
she's
At
like,
the
I'm gonna
end.
smack her when I see her.
Do you remember that final night that we shot? We wrapped like at 4 a.m. in the
course,
backyard.
dude, yeah.
That was just,
of course,
man,
dude.
I was
The house with all the dog poop everywhere.
No, we
Oh,
were remember
man,
just
dude.
we were so exhausted,
I know.
and it was honestly like I think I was happy. I'm sure we were all happy that it was over at that moment, and then 2 days later, you're like, oh, I miss it,
Oh yeah.
right?
For
But it was
sure,
we didn't
dude,
again. It's the proper goodbyes. So I'm glad you're
Yeah.
doing this. Honestly, this podcast is
Yeah,
great.
man.
You got to get everybody on here.
Of course.
Get Emilio on.
Oh,
here,
I'm going to.
You know,
Jeremy, anything you want to tell the audience, the fans of OMB before we let them go? Any words of inspiration?
Thank you.
anything?
You know,
Thank
the
you.
show changed my life,
Yeah.
and thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really, truly, truly, truly mean it. Thank you all.
All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode. I love you guys. Muchas gracias. Adios.